Sport is aflame with issues. Yes, even golf. It might seem staid and traditional, but it's a sport with flair, feuds, foolishness. Tiger Woods still divides opinion. So does Sergio. And then there's the Olympics. It's our special on golf, and these are the burning issues. He was the most successful sportsman on the planet until some poor lifestyle choices and a dreadful run with injuries. So is it time to feel sorry for Tiger? There's never been a fall like it. In the first decade of the 21st century, the planet's most marketable, most powerful, seemingly most untouchable sports star was Tiger Woods. But much of the second decade saw Tiger's career in freefall. With 14 wins in the tournaments classified as majors by the age of 33, he was considered a lock to pass the record of 18 held by Jack Nicklaus. Until his fitness was exposed. His fitness physically, of course. Tiger's body hasn't been the same since his heroic 14th major win in the 2008 US Open on one leg. And his mind and spirit have taken something of a beating too. After his marriage, his reputation, and his air of invincibility sank in a sea of smut. Exposed as a serial cheater, embarrassed by the revelations of his wife's nifty use of a 9-iron, and alarmed by the speed with which sponsors began deserting him, Tiger found his humility.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
But while he returned briefly to the #1 world ranking, he could never get his body to turn back time. More back and knee surgeries, more tinkering with his swing to protect his aging and aching bones.
It was more than brutal, because there were times when I physically didn't know if I could get out of bed.
Another aborted comeback at the start of 2017 left Tiger distraught. So is it time everyone cut him a break and gave him some sympathy? Well, let's see. According to Forbes, even after his complicated divorce settlement, Tiger has an estimated net wealth of $740 million. And at the end of 2016, ranked 7th on the list of wealthiest celebrities. So if you want to feel sorry for a guy who's still so stinking rich, okay. After the break, there's one guy who will never feel sorry for Tiger. Sergio Garcia is an interesting dude. He's known to be a bit fiery, as this little temper tantrum shows. But he can also be a bit of a charmer. Generous to fans and a heartthrob with a history of high-profile relationships. He dated tennis star Martina Hingis back in the day when they were the Rory and Caroline of golf and tennis. And he was reportedly distraught when Morgan Norman, the daughter of former world #1 Greg Norman, gave him the flick. Sergio is now settled down with former TV reporter Angela Akins. the pair celebrating the 30th win of his career in the Dubai Desert Classic in February 2017. A tournament also significant as the one in which Tiger Woods pulled the pin on his comeback. The thing is, at the top of the show, we asked the question whether we should feel sorry for Tiger Woods. But if you were to ask whether Sergio Garcia will ever feel sorry for Tiger Woods, the answer would be a quick and conclusive no. Sergio and Tiger have a deep-seated animosity, which began around the turn of the century when Tiger was untouchable #1. And Sergio, 5 years his junior, came along to challenge with naive zest and was seen to celebrate a win in a made-for-TV contest just a little too enthusiastically. The feud simmered for years as Tiger's majors record grew and Sergio's didn't. And in 2013, it got really hot when they argued during a round at the Players' Championship at Sawgrass, when Sergio claimed Tiger distracted him mid-shot by pulling a club out of his bag.
Well, the marshals, they told me he already hit. So I pulled the club and was getting ready to play my shot. And then I hear his comments afterwards, and not real surprising that he's complaining about something.
Did you talk to him about it, or did he talk to you?
We didn't do a lot of talking.
But that was a little bit unfortunate that, I think sometimes you have to be a bit more careful.
Hey,
He just told us
Sergio.
it's not surprising to hear you complaining about something. Was his response. How do you feel about hearing that?
That's fine, At least I'm true to myself. I know what I'm doing, and he can do whatever he wants.
2 weeks later, Sergio caused a racial storm when he suggested that if he had Tiger around for dinner, he would serve fried chicken.
I want to send an unreserved apology. Didn't mean to offend anyone. I obviously was caught off guard by the question. But don't get me wrong, I understand that my answer was totally stupid and out of place, and I have I can't say sorry enough about that.
Tiger didn't exactly accept the apology, but 2 years later, when they were paired at the Masters, they did at least shake hands on the first tee, though it wasn't the warmest of rounds.
I think that there's people that you connect with and there's people that you don't, and it's pretty much as simple as that. So I think that he doesn't need me in his life, I don't need him in mine, and let's move on and let's keep doing what we're doing.
Long before golf made its impact into celebrity, celebrities began their invasion on golf. There's many an invitational celebrity pro-am every year to raise money for charity, where crowds are wowed by the likes of Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps or barefoot tennis queen Martina Navratilova. Pop sensation Justin Timberlake even has his handicap down at 4.8. But when JT's involved, he's sure to put on more than a golf show. Actor Samuel L. Jackson is pretty serious, though, playing off a mark of 7. But for every great celebrity golfer, there's plenty of bad ones. Like Tora Bright, great at snowboarding, terrible at golf. Ouch! Older and wiser Bill Murray tries hard to keep the focus off his golf. Perhaps it's natural that some of the best celebrity golfers are those from other sports. 23-time gold medalist Phelps showed his penchant for strokes in the pool and has sure perfected his putting stroke. Put your feet up, folks. This is going to take a while. That's surely the longest legit putt ever filmed. But don't get ahead of yourself, Michael.
Game is easy.
A 50-yard putt. Yeah, that was the longest putt I've ever hit. So it was pretty incredible, and just watching it die in was a pretty cool feeling.
The basketball world has sure thrown up a mixed bag of golfers. Just look at Michael Jordan getting his handicap down to just 4. But then there's the Shaq. And Yao Ming must have had those clubs specially made to fit his 7-foot 6-inch frame. There's clearly a reason Ronaldo never used his hands for his sport of choice. But Ukrainian striker Andrei Shevchenko, well, he even tried his hand on the pro circuit, making his debut on the Challenge Tour in 2013. Sure, guys like Kurt Russell, Ronan Keating, and Michael Douglas give the game their best shot.
We figured it out. If we don't win this competition, we will certainly set the age record since we have 153 years between us. So I feel good about that.
But for the best, you've got to go back to the 1940s with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. Bob and Bing were the originators of celebrity golf. And they knew they weren't on the course to drive 10 under par or sink impossible birdies. They were there to do what they did best, and that was entertain.
It's in. Oh, well.
So in that vein, our best modern celebrity golfers have to be Bill Murray and Justin Timberlake. With Timberlake just a step or two ahead. From the popular celebrities to the not-so-popular power brokers. Who would win the President's Cup? Many US presidents have loved the game of golf. So many, in fact, that in 1994 they decided to name a tournament after them, the President's Cup. As if they don't get enough special treatment. Some commanders-in-chief even become pretty decent golfers. But who was the best? Perhaps not the best, but certainly the keenest had to be Woodrow Wilson, who played over 1,000 rounds during his time in office. Although for all that practice, he rarely broke 100. Dwight Eisenhower fared a little better, getting his handicap down to 14 at times. But having played over 800 rounds while in office to get there, many thought Ike cared more about his scorecard than running the country. Ike liked to mix with the great names of golf too, once turning his considerable skill with the paintbrush to create a portrait of Bobby Jones.
2 titles in 1 year. The President himself painted the portrait of the champion and now presents it to him.
Eisenhower's successor, JFK, was renowned for being a gifted golfer. But Kennedy hid his love of the game to avoid any comparisons with Eisenhower whatsoever. George W. got down to 10, although not until he'd left office. Just imagine how good it would have been had he never become president. How good his golf game would have been, that is. Basketball legend and decent golfer Michael Jordan once called ex-Pres Barack Obama a hack when it came to golf. However, Obama claimed he was an honest 13. Other reports say he's closer to 17, though. And if you've seen his swing, you might agree with Mike. 13 seems a stretch. Bill Clinton's dramas with golf weren't so much with his handicap, which was around 10. It was off the course. While at a party at golf great Greg Norman's house, Bill managed to do himself a knee injury that required surgery. Must have been a good party. Then when he left office, Bill looked for a country club to join and fill his increased spare time. But Clinton found it difficult to find one that would have him, largely due to the security fuss he brought wherever he went. It's also reported Bill had an ambiguous interpretation of golf's rules at times and was particularly fond of the American custom of mulligans. But there was one man who apparently didn't mind those who bend the rules, and Clinton finally found sanctuary at, wait for it, Trump National Golf Club. That's right. The Donald once welcomed Bill and Hillary to his own course. How times change. Speaking of, it's with some nose-holding that we acknowledge the president considered the best of the lot. Yep, it's Trump. Before his election victory, the Donald listed his handicap with the US Golf Association as 3. Although we've come to know Trump's penchant for alternative facts. The president also promised he would sideline golf to concentrate on presidenting. But that has turned out to be fake news, playing 6 rounds in his first month in office. Here's what Lexi Thompson said about the number of times he played in the early days of his presidency.
Well, yeah, Trump International is my home course there in West Palm Beach, so I'm always out there, and the last few weekends, he's been out there every weekend.
And of his talent?
He probably doesn't carry very far, but he has the lower ball flight and pretty straight and just rolls a mile off the tee. I wouldn't say I'm trying to learn his game and watch it.
Even so, there are plenty who'd be happier to see Dangerous Don on the course than behind that desk with that funny red button. Some stars put themselves ahead of the game. So did the women save Olympic golf? In Rio, golf returned to the Olympics after 112 years. And the anticipation for the event was high, with athletes right on board. Well, at least the women athletes were right on board. New Zealander Lydia Ko was asked would she prefer to win the British Open or an Olympic gold.
Definitely the gold medal. No offense to the British.
When she eventually fell 1 short and took silver, she was still thrilled, saying, "I'm never going to take it off. I might have to shower with it. I know it doesn't rust." These kinds of endorsements kept interest in the event high and led us to ask, did the gals save Olympic golf? The women certainly understood that despite the lack of prize money, the Olympics was a chance to do something different.
I'm really excited to, to go to Rio because, we're ladies golfers, so we don't really get to play with the men's that much. But for me, I'm like kind of like a big fan of the PGA Tour. So I'm really excited to see you too. Yeah, I'm really excited, you know, that maybe I can meet like Rory McIlroy and then Jordan Spieth.
But it turned out bronze medalist Shan Shan Feng did not get to mingle with McIlroy or Spieth in the Rio Olympic Village. No, those two, along with a list of other top male players, opted not to take part. Most cited the threat of Zika virus for their withdrawal. And some of the blokes claimed it was a terrible sacrifice, like Jordan Spieth.
Listen, this was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life. At 22 years old.
But here's the thing. Sure, Zika might have been scary. But Rory McIlroy revealed what was probably going on in the minds of many when he was exposed by a certain 8-year-old upstart.
If you're so tough, how come you're so scared of a little tiny mosquito?
Good question, good question. I think when I get older, if I want to grow up and I want to have kids, then it might have been a good decision, but look, everything that happened in the Olympics went well, and I'm glad that it all did go well, but you know, a few people used that excuse and I sort of jumped on the bandwagon.
It's perhaps no surprise. After all, we know where Rory's responsibilities lie.
You know, I didn't get into golf to try and grow the game. I tried to get into golf to win championships and win major championships, and all of a sudden you get to this point and there's a responsibility on you to grow the game. And I get that, but at the same time, you know, that's not the reason that I got into golf.
Fair enough, Rory. It's probably not the reason women's gold medalist, Korean Inbee Park, and men's champ Justin Rose got into golf either. But at least they understand it's not just about them. You're the one missing out, pal. Still to come on the burning issue, are golfers the weirdest athletes of all? There are some pretty eccentric athletes out there. Those who don't seem to realise they're in the wrong climate for their sport. Those who figure they'll get the shopping done while running a foot race and being ready to fight crime simultaneously. And those who, well, you know, really just don't care what people think of them. But not in golf. Golf is a sanctuary for normality and straight-laced conservative attitudes. Or is it? For example, there's this oddball, John Daly, who won 2 majors over a long and colourful career. So long, in fact, John's clearly grown bored of using the same old golf equipment and likes to mix it up in some strange ways. Daly also came out in support of President Trump in 2016 by mimicking his hairstyle. Weirdo. Or what about Sergio Garcia? He was runner-up at the 1999 and 2008 US PGA Championships and the 2007 and 2014 British Opens. All those near misses of greatness must have driven him a bit bonkers. And these days, he can be spotted taking shots at low-flying drones instead of fairways. It makes a little more sense when those drones are actually taunting Sergio, but the whole thing is still a bit odd. The weirdest golfer of them all, though, is undoubtedly Bubba Watson. Having won the US Masters in 2012 and 2014, his standards on the course are obviously high. But when it comes to his eccentricity, the sky's the limit. Recently, Bubba got involved with Oakley to launch the first ever flying golf cart jetpack. Oh yeah. This is seriously what happens when weird people get access to lots and lots of money. Where we regular strangers just dream of zooming around like airborne hoons, Bubba gets to actually do it. Just imagine what the stuffy golf traditionalists think about their precious game, resembling the set of a sci-fi film. So weird. Yep, golfers may very well be the biggest oddballs of all.